Today we will be talking about the U.S. Constitution and the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights were made necessary by the Anti-Federalists, who were afraid of a strong central government. Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and James Madison wrote the Federalist Papers calling for the Bill of Rights. The 13 states would not unanimously sign the new Constitution without the Bill of Rights, guaranteeing their citizens' rights as well as the states' rights. Protecting civil liberties. The First Amendment grants the most protections to citizens. It guarantees free speech, especially political in nature, free press, free religion, provided for in the Establishment Clause, as well as the right to assembly and petition the government. The 14th Amendment gives equal protection under the law as part of the Reconstruction Amendments. It also provides for due process for all citizens, while also applying all the amendments to each of the states. Preventing abuse by the government is protected in the Second, Third, and Fourth Amendments. The Second guarantees the right to bear arms and maintain a well-regulated militia. The Third, no quartering of soldiers during peacetime. The Fourth Amendment protects against unreasonable searches and seizures and requires a search warrant. The rights of the accused are guaranteed by the Fifth, Sixth, and Eighth Amendments. The Fifth protects your property with eminent domain, requiring just compensation if the government takes your property. The other four protections are due process and having enough evidence for an indictment, and protection from double jeopardy and protection against self-incrimination. The Sixth requires trial by jury that is impartial and speedy, and the accused must know their charges. The Eighth Amendment protects against cruel and unusual punishment and excessive bail. There are four amendments that protect the rights of the people in the state. They are the 7th, 9th, 10th, and 13th Amendments. The 7th Amendment protects the rights of the people in civil cases. It guarantees their rights to a jury in civil cases involving more than $20. The 9th Amendment says that American citizens have rights beyond the ones listed in the Constitution. One example of a right not listed in the Constitution is the right to privacy. The 10th Amendment conscripts that any power the Constitution does not give to the national government is reserved to the states or to the people. This amendment prevents Congress and the President from becoming too strong. The 13th Amendment outlaws slavery and involuntary servitude, such as indentured servitude, except when that servitude is a punishment for a crime. The next 6 amendments expand and protect voting rights. The 15th Amendment granted voting rights to African American males. The 17th Amendment made it so senators could only be chosen directly by voters. The 19th Amendment granted suffrage to women. The 23rd Amendment gave the citizens of Washington, D.C. the right to vote for a president. The 24th Amendment outlawed the use of poll taxes, which prevented African Americans and poor whites from voting. And the 26th Amendment set the national voting age to 18. The last 9 amendments we will discuss change the structure and/or organization of the government. The 11th Amendment states that lawsuits initiated by a person against a state government, the case would no longer be heard in federal court. The 12th Amendment changed the process for electing the president and vice president. The 16th Amendment established a federal income tax, and the 18th Amendment prohibited the production, sale, or transportation of alcoholic beverages in the U.S. The 20th Amendment changes the start of the new congressional term and the presidential and vice presidential inauguration from March to January 20th. The 21st Amendment repeals the 18th Amendment and gave Congress the power to regulate the liquor industry. The 22nd Amendment limits the president's term to a maximum of 2 terms or 10 years. The 25th Amendment provides the succession order in the event of a presidential death. And the 27th Amendment prevents congressional pay raises from taking effect until the next election. The First Amendment is the freedom of religion, speech, press, petition, and assembly. This amendment allows people not to be prosecuted for any speech against the government, as well as non-spoken speech. Texas versus Johnson was the 1989 court case that involved a man burning a flag in front of the courthouse in protest. Burning a flag is a form of political speech, which is almost always protected. The court found that even offensive political speech is protected. This case protects your First Amendment rights more. U.S. versus Shenick was the 1919 court case that involved a man advising people to avoid the draft. He was arrested on a violation of the Espionage Act. The Supreme Court said that it was not a violation of free speech because it was during wartime, which is when your rights are restricted. This case limits your rights. Bethel versus Frazier was the 1986 court case where a boy was suspended for using lewd speech at school. Since it was on school campus, the suspension was not a violation of his freedom of speech. This case shows how you have limited rights at school.